All right, looks like we're live. Give it a second here. See if we get a couple people rolling in.
I think Forrest said he wasn't going to be on pestering us tonight.
Yeah, Forrest has a tournament tonight. So one of our fans who comes on here a lot, one of our buddies comes on here a lot, and he won't be here tonight, I don't think, because he's got a derby tonight. But
I guess we have to count on Zach.
Yeah, we got to count on Zach if he's not playing Call of Duty. But welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another Serious Angler Podcast, episode number 117. It is Monday Night Live, and we're having on Kyle Welcher tonight. And we're going to interrupt a little bit of his time while he's out on the water fishing. But it sounds like he's jacking on him a little bit. So we're not going to take up too much of his time. But, dude, we had a good weekend this past weekend. Even, it wasn't the result we wanted.
A little short.
Yeah, we caught a lot of fish.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't even know how many we caught. All like this big.
we probably caught over 40. I would say
easily.
Yeah. But yeah, Andy and I did a derb on Sunday on the Niagara River, and we didn't finish terribly. We didn't finish what we wanted, but
the difference between us and second was 3/4 of a pound. So one fish, because we had a 2.5. So one fish would have done it for us, but.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Yeah. But we're going to talk to a guy who knows how to get it done. He's a rookie on the Elite Series, Mr. Kyle Welcher. And before we get into the podcast, huge shout out to Douglas Outdoors and Queen Tackle. Thank you guys for your support of the podcast. And RIP to my drop shot rod this weekend. My drop shot rod took a nice punch to the face from Andy this weekend, and he's missing a whole half of the rod.
I was like, "Ooh, sorry, dude. Did I just break your tip?"
Yep. So I'll be making a trip out to Douglas headquarters this week and picking up a new rod. But huge shout out to those guys, and shout out to Queen Tackle. We've been using a bunch of your weights and your jigs caught a bunch on the finesse football jig with Queen Tackle.
Summer Goby. Good color.
Oh, yeah.
Pick them up when they're available.
Was the deal.
Let us have them all.
Yeah, exactly. All more for us. But without further ado, no more shout-outs for us today. I think that pretty much covers it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, without further ado then, Mr. Kyle Welcher, out on the water. What's going on, man?
Doing good, man. We're out here, Lake Martin, like I told you earlier, in Alabama, catching mostly spotted bass, caught a couple little largemouth, but we're just trying to have fun and dial in the electronics a little bit more for these fall Elite Series tournaments.
Heck yeah, man.
Which one are you looking forward to the most?
Probably Lake Fork. I think Lake Fork in November is going to be really, really good. Those fish get pounded. I mean, every day, all year, but there's a big there's a big bait migration that time of year, and I think there'll be some fresh largemouth moving shallow, and I think it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Ooh. I was expecting you to say Gunnersville because you're from Alabama, right?
Yeah, but I've almost never fished Gunnersville.
Oh, jeez.
I've never been to Gunnersville. Yeah, take me off. I've never been there where I was driving the boat, though. I've been to Gunnersville 6 or 7 times, never with me driving. And every time I was like 16, 17 years old with somebody else being at the back of the boat. So never really been there.
Interesting. Well, with that being said, though, you're probably pretty excited for the fall swing.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on Chickamauga. I have done that. And then I'm familiar enough with Gunnersville to know kind of where it's going to happen at, stuff like that. So we're not going to be completely blind. So I'm excited to get it back started. And Santee Cooper's another one, got just absolute giant fish in it. There's going to be some giant bags caught. So I'm just excited to get back going for sure.
Heck yeah, man. Well, dude, let's throw it way back to start the podcast. I like to ask people kind of their roots, but, how did you get into fishing? What's that first story like? What was that first story of you catching your very first bass? Who got you into it, that whole ordeal?
I do not remember my first bass. I guess I was too young. I really don't remember it. But my dad had we still have the aluminum boat he would take hunting, and he would go fishing like twice a year, like maximum. That's like the most he would ever fish. And he took me out there a couple times whenever I was super young, and then that's all I've ever wanted to do. I remember specifically being on my home lake, and there's still a Tuesday night tournament there to this day. And I remember being out there on a Tuesday evening and watching them blast off a tournament when I was like 8 or 9 years old. I just remember seeing the boats drive by. And ever since then, all I've wanted to do, period, is fish a bass tournament. So from then on out, that's all I have pretty much structured my life around.
That's awesome. Dude. Yeah. The glamour of the glitter rocket will catch you every time.
Right.
So what's the timeline been like for you? Obviously, I know you got to the Elite Series through the Opens, but prior to that, maybe in your middle school, high school days, maybe in college, what was the timeline leading up to it?
Yeah, so I started the high school fishing team at my high school, which my younger brother just graduated from there last year. He fished it the whole time he was in high school, and went from there and went to college for 1 year, and I did really well in the college tournament. So I went straight from the college tournaments and started trying to. I kind of left college, and I thought I could make it to the professional circuit faster if I didn't spend the 4 years in college, and I actually didn't. So I, fished all the local stuff, all the BFLs, and it's just so hard to make the leap to fish the Opens or the Costas. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. So I finally last year decided to go full force, commit everything I had to fishing 2 of the circuits of the FOW Toyota Series, what they're called now, and then 1 circuit of the Bass Opens. Bass Opens are extremely difficult to get into, so I couldn't get into both circuits. So I had to settle for 1, and that's what I did last year, and that's how we got to the Elite. So I qualified last year for the FOW Tour and the Pro and the Bassmaster Elite Series. But before that, it was mainly just fishing everything I could locally. The cool thing about living where I live in Alabama, I'm really close to like 7 or 8 big lakes. Like I'm within an hour and a half of 7 or 8 lakes that have big tournaments on, and probably 30 plus weekends a year, we can fish for $3 to $10 grand every single Saturday. So it's a great place to fish local tournaments. You can fish a lot of tournaments, get a lot of experience down here. So that's what I did for the longest time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we don't have derbies like that up here in New York where you can on every Saturday compete for that amount of money. That's pretty sweet. But we don't. Obviously, we have some great renowned bodies of water, but not like the historical bodies of water you have down there, like a Gunnersville or a Lake Martin, like you're at right now. Which I can't tell if your phone is staticky or are you getting rained on right now?
Well, I'm getting rained on a little bit. It's a sprinkle, but that the guys I'm with are throwing top water, so that probably is helping a little bit.
How has it been? I don't know where the storm actually. I didn't track it that well, but did you guys get hit hard at all with the hurricane?
Almost every single day it said it was going to rain, and then it just kind of hasn't. Today's the first day we really got any rain from it. So, I mean, it said it. I actually did not go to Gunnersville to pre-practice because it said it was going to just like get blasted with rain for like 4 days, and it ended up not happening. So, it's kind of dissipated before it's got over here every single day, except for today we're getting a little bit of the effects from it.
Well, that's good that you guys didn't get hit. And that's a real relief right there.
Right.
I'm sure for you as well. But I know Andy's got a big question. He's been pressing to ask you, so I'll hand the mic over to Andy.
Is this the difference between the southern fisheries to the northern fisheries? I know you had it's different coming up here north from fishing down south. So what would you say was the hardest aspect of grasp? Because everybody talks about how great New York is fishing, right? And then you got to New York, and I know I watched a little bit of your YouTube videos and kind of was a little bit of a struggle for you, and I feel bad for you because everybody praises how good New York is. So what do you think the issue was there?
So I really don't think that there was anything that I completely missed or anything like that. The one thing about a lake like, one of the Great Lakes is how hard it is to actually move around and how long it takes to move around. Like you could say I've got, 5 or 6 spots, but unless they are literally close, which none of them are, it takes you forever to get from like one side of an island to the other side of an island. It takes you like 15 minutes. So that was one of the weirdest things for me. But as far as, the actual fishing, the fish get on the same exact kind of deal that they get on isolated stuff. They get on isolated grass, isolated rock. They like current. They get in the current seams. They get right. It's all exactly the same. The reason I struggled the most in New York is I feel like I got relatively unlucky and I made a lot of really bad decisions. So whenever I was fishing St. Lawrence, I lost some fish on the first day, and then I made kind of bad decisions for the rest of the day because it wasn't going well. Same thing on St. Clair. I made relatively bad decisions on the first day. So that could happen whether I was fishing for largemouth or smallmouth. But the biggest deal was definitely how hard it is to move around on them dang lakes. It's not easy.
Yeah, time management is huge.
Right.
Absolutely huge.
And boat wake is like a huge player. Like, I would rather be on 6-footers on Lake Ontario than have to drive by those freaking yachts that are down there in a lot of them rivers. Like on St. Lawrence River, they have the
Are you
narrows.
talking about the American Narrows? Oh, yeah, that's brutal.
Oh, God, dude, it's terrible. I would much rather be down there in 6-footers on Ontario. But, you know, I think the 35-mile-per-hour speed limit actually makes it worse. Like, because those boats are going at such a slow speed, they're putting off 4-foot rollers from every single direction, and your boat just gets destroyed. Like, soon as you get home from up there, you got to tighten everything back up.
Oh yeah. I speak. So currently, right now, I'm young. I'm just briefly out of college, and I didn't grow up in a boat scene. So my precursor right now, before I get a boat, I'm still stuck in a kayak. So for me, I'm always, every time a boat passes me, I'm like, please go faster, because I know if they're going slower, it's a bigger wake. So I'm like, I'd rather have somebody just completely buzz by me than go by slow, because I'm getting destroyed. And I know you said the same thing for you. You got to tighten everything up and whatnot. But man, like those American Narrows, I have never seen anything like that when it comes to boat traffic and weight. It is absurd. But
there's a place on the Detroit River that's supposed to be worse than that. Oof. So whenever I drove through it wasn't worse, but I drove through it whenever it was raining. So it might be worse. I don't know. If it is, I don't want no part of it. That's for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt. But dude, you know, obviously you're an Elite Series rookie, which, by the way, I know we're halfway through, but dude, you're doing dang good. You're sitting in 24th in AOI, and awesome. I think it's a testament to the rookies that you're in 4th for the ROI, because those you guys are kicking butt this year.
Yeah, dude, they are catching them, and it's really my turn now to climb up. They've kind of had their time at the top. Bring them back down south. Let's see what they can do whenever we're getting 7 bites a day and we got to be flipping and frogging. So I'm excited. You know, I didn't leave New York in quite the place I wanted to. I'm kind of got a sour taste in my mouth because at St. Clair, I fell like 11 or 12 spots in AOI. So I'm really disappointed in that. But at the same time, the reason I fell so far is because it is so tight. So just a couple good tournaments, I can move up and get right back where I need to be. So we just need like 2 top 20s in a row. And this year will turn back around and be a very, very positive one. But yeah, I can't complain. I've made 3 out of the 5 third-day cuts. You know, I've had 3 pretty good finishes and 2 60-ish finishes, that's not terrible because there are 85 of the very, very good anglers. So 60th is not terrible, but it's definitely not where I want to spend most of my time.
No doubt.
And now we're going back into the home waters, pretty much, right? So
yeah. So let me ask you this then. You know, you said you had a sour taste in your mouth from St. Clair. So that being said, if you guys go back, you know, are you going to be? Is your mindset you're more excited to go back to get revenge, or are you like, oh crap, we're going back?
No, I don't want to go back because the style of fishing is so boring to me that I literally don't want to do it. The only reason I stayed up there in between St. Lawrence or in between Champlain and St. Clair. I stayed up there and I fished Erie a lot in the meantime, and it's just not fun to me at all. I was only doing it because I needed to do good in St. Clair. So I'm not excited to go back by any means because it's so boring. But I do want to go get revenge for sure. I want to go show that the reason I did bad is because I made mental mistakes, not because I don't know how to catch a smallmouth, because smallmouth's pretty easy to catch. You just got to locate them. So I do want to go show people I can catch a smallmouth, but I would rather not go back for sure.
Oh, we are sure you will. What part of Erie did you stay on? Were you down in Sandusky or Buffalo?
So I stayed in the Buffalo area while the FOW deal was going on because I didn't want to be around Sandusky. And then I fished kind of all the way over. And then whenever the FOW stuff was over, I actually was allowed to fish the Detroit River on the lower end of St. Clair. We had a cutoff, which was the Ambassador Bridge. So I was actually allowed to fish south of the Ambassador Bridge in the mouth of Erie. So I fished there a few days too. So I kind of just like split it up, and I kind of got onto what they were doing on Erie. Problem is, you go to St. Clair, and it's a lot different.
Yeah. So, what did you think of Buffalo on Lake Erie?
It would seem like the best area for Erie as far as I was concerned. It seemed like I could find the most good structure in Buffalo. Whenever I got down around Avon area, Sandusky, it really seemed like there wasn't near as much good structure, to fish out in the middle of the lake. So the Buffalo area seemed to be, a little bit better.
Well, I appreciate those kind words. I live 10 minutes from Small Boat, well, Safe Harbor, as you know it. So I fish Erie a lot.
Right. I heard there was really good largemouth fishing on Erie. I tried that a couple different days and have yet to find it. So, but I heard it was really good.
In the Canadian side up near us has good largemouth fishing in one area.
Right.
So other than that, I won't break it down because I know how to catch largemouth in my part of Erie and nobody does it. So I don't talk about it.
You're Andy's secrets here.
Yeah.
But dude, now that, obviously it's your first year on the Elite Series, you're a rookie, you would call it the halfway point. How has it been for you? And also, what have been some of the biggest adjustments or lessons learned?
So I have fished a lot of we got dogs telling us to get off the property right now.
So off the docks.
I have fished a lot of multi-day tournaments. So as far as doing the whole practice deal and managing fish, for me, I didn't feel like that was as big of a learning curve, even though I haven't made many day fours to show that I can manage fish. But, it's really been eye-opening to how good a lot of these cities treat us and how receptive the general public is to us coming there. Like whenever we go into town, it's unbelievable the amount of support that we get. And I've never seen that on any other tournament trail ever. So, as far as that goes, it's really eye-opening to how big this actually is and how many people are actually in our corner. But as far as the learning curve and all that, it's got to be the whole smallmouth deal. There was a couple of days where I'd fish for smallmouth, and I literally felt like I didn't know what I was doing because I wasn't getting the bites. But at the same time, whenever I fished for smallmouth the way I wanted to fish for them, I always caught them. So, but trying to get out there and drifting around on the St. Lawrence River and stuff like that, and 30, 35 foot of water, it's really weird, especially when you got the current, the wind blowing the wrong way. You can't get your boat to drift the way you want it to drift. That was kind of weird, made me feel like I was out of place, but that was really about the only time.
That's good. So now moving forward, is there anything that you learned in the first half of the season that you're going to try to, pick apart and take forward moving on to the rest of the season?
Yeah. So I've got this way that I practice to fish, to fish tournaments, and I've kind of seen how some other guys are doing things. The guys who seem to do better in the second, third, fourth day of the tournament. So I've got a different style of practicing, and I'm kind of still refining that strategy. But that's the biggest thing that I'm kind of trying to move forward with is how you approach the day one of the tournament, because that really shapes your whole deal. So you want to eliminate a lot of water on day one because you're going to get a lot of bites in a lot of different areas because you have 3 days of practice. But the problem is the fish move. So on day one, a lot of times you run a lot of spots, and then you'll mark off like half of them. And then you start to figure out kind of where the fish are sitting, and you start fishing a lot of new water on day 2 and day 3. So that's kind of the biggest thing I'm trying to move into the last half of the season is really managing these areas because it's going to be so tough and kind of dialing it in during the tournament instead of pulling up day one of practice, catching them and trying to run that for 7 days. It ain't going to happen. So that's one of the biggest deals that I'm trying to, really implement right now. And everybody is, so that's the goal at all times whenever you're practicing for these multi-day events.
Interesting. I like that.
And another odd part too is because COVID threw everything off. Normally the season's about wrapping up at this point, right? So now you're coming kind of into our uncharted territories for bass fishing until I think the season ends in the end of November.
Right.
So it's totally uncharted territory. So if you have experience in some areas, like some of these guys do at certain parts of the year, that almost gets thrown out. So like every tournament could be a wild card going forward. So that's got to be exciting as well.
Yeah. Our last event was supposed to be St. Clair.
Yeah.
So now we have 4 more after it. And a lot of these guys, like a lot of the anglers, they don't fish a lot in the fall. A lot of them are big time deer hunters. A lot of them, just don't have the passion to fish like, some of those younger guys do. So I always fish a ton in the fall. I always fish every day in October too. So, I feel like it could play out good for me, but at the same time, it has been a wacky, wonky season. And it's right now, everybody just kind of feels like they need to hold on and figure out how to get into the classes and stuff. But it is going to be weird. The thing about these fall tournaments is a big bite is going to go a lot further. So if you're going to Guntersville in March, if you catch a 5 pound, 2 5-pounders, you still got to catch 3 more 4-pounders to have a good bag. This time of year, you catch a 5-pounder and 4 2.5s. Now you got a good bag, because 15 pounds is going to be a good bag on Gunnersville. It's going to be a good bag on Chick. It's even going to be a pretty good bag on Santee. So, it's a big bite is going to play a lot in these last 3 or 4 events. So if I could just get lucky and catch a couple of them big ones, it's going to go a long way.
So what it sounds like is we could see the standings flip from day 1 to day 2 to day 3 based on the way it fishes in that late summer going into fall transition.
Right. And there is a lot of big fish in the lakes too. So somebody could come in with 8 or 9 pounds on day 1, be down in 70th place, catch them 18 pounds on day 2. And now they jump all the way up to when they're in 35th. They catch 18 pounds on day 3. They jump all the way up to the 5th place, So there's really big fish in this lake, and in all these lakes. Some people are going to struggle and then really catch them on the next day. And it could go the opposite too. You could catch 19 pounds on day 1 and catch 2 fish for 5 pounds on day 2, and you fall just outside the cut. So there's going to be a lot of flip-flopping going on this fall for sure, because bites are going to be at a premium. A lot of these lakes, guys are going to be getting, 5 to 8 or 9 bites a day. So landing all those and doing that consistently is going to be very important.
Well, I'd say you're no stranger to the big bite. I'm sure that was quite the roller coaster for you in your first
St. John's.
A 10-pounder. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is such a giant fish, and you don't catch one like that very often. And the fact that I was in the tournament almost it definitely didn't ruin it. It made it better, but you don't get to enjoy it. Like, you put the fish in the box, you have to catch another one, like instantly. You need to catch another one. So you go right back to fishing, and then you weigh the fish in. I didn't even get one personal picture of the fish, because I weighed it. They put it in the live release tank, and then it's gone. So I would not change it for anything, but I do wish I could have at least had a couple of hours to just enjoy that I just caught a dang 10-pounder.
Yeah. From what I remember in the video, I think you had your trolling motor on 82, because when you set the hook in that thing, you were pulling away real fast trying to get them out of the weeds. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I keep it pretty much. I keep my trolling motor pretty much on 8 to 10, so 80 to 100%. So I'm usually fighting them backwards.
That's good though, because you can keep pressure on them the whole time too. So
yeah.
Let the boat work instead of the rod, I guess.
All right.
Interesting. So was that your first 10-pounder, or is that not your first rodeo?
First 10-pounder.
That's a great place.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's kind of insane.
No doubt. Well, Andy, I know you had a question as well with the 10-pounder that you were meaning to ask Kyle.
Oh, I think we kind of covered it, but let me pull it up here. Hold on. You can keep going.
I think it was along the lines of, what was your mentality, being on the Elite Series?
Oh, yeah, rookie. Because it was your first Elite Series tournament, right? So you're going into this fresh tournament series, and then I think you caught that fish on day 3, right? Or was it day 2?
It was day 2.
Day 2. So what was your mindset when you hooked that fish? Were you going into it, were you can I hang with these guys? And then you hook that one, you're like, wow, I belong here now? Was it I can hang here moment, or was it I got to keep seeing how the season goes?
So definitely whenever you take elite, fishing the elites, there's always that little bit of anxiety about, am I good enough to fish with these guys? Am I going to be able to do well? And that moment for me was really on day 1, because I started in some completely brand new water that I found on Google Earth literally the night before the tournament. I found this dredged out barge canal north of the ramp. So I started in there first thing in the morning on day number 1, and I instantly caught a keeper almost instantly. Then I lost a 2.5, and I lost a 4-pounder. So now I've done fished that entire canal. I leave out of there and I run down, and I'm running down towards Lake George. I hit all this high percentage stuff on the river, and I never get a bite. I go down below Lake George into the Astor area, which is another, current-oriented place. I fish all kinds of high percentage stuff, never get a bite. So I'm sitting with one fish, and it's 11:30 in the day. So now you're really hearing the voices. So that's the hardest time there is to make an adjustment and go do something you didn't do in practice and try to make it happen. So that was kind of my moment of, you can actually do this, because I calmed down, settled down, and I started making adjustments, and I finally figured out kind of where them fish had started sitting. And I ended up coming in, I think that day I had 12, somewhere between 12 and 13 pounds, which does not sound like a lot, but with the conditions we had down there, I think I was in about 20th or 25th place after day 1.
It's a great start.
Yeah, that was really the the time where I answered that question for myself, because I was pretty happy that I wasn't happy that I lost 2 4-pounders that day, but I was happy that I was able to, make the adjustments late in the day, salvage the day, and have a good tournament. Then going into day 2, kind of the same deal happened. I went down to the area where I started on the first day and only ended up catching 3. So I ran back to another area where I caught a couple keepers in practice, and I ended up catching a 3.5. I lost a 4, then I caught a 10, and then I lost a 5.5 or 6. So, making those adjustments in the tournament is really what, answered that question for me. It wasn't the result that I got, because the 10-pounder, I want to act like it was all skill, but I could have flipped in there and caught a 2-pounder and nobody even knew who I was. So, making those adjustments on the water, though, is how you kind of gauge yourself, because that is what makes you a better angler, is how good are the decisions you make compared to the decisions other people make. So that's what answered the question for me.
True. Andy, you have a comment here from one of our fellow friends, and actually a fellow rookie on the Elite Series. Andy Killer Beard. From good old Destin.
Oh, good old Destin. Oh, man. Next time I see him, his beard better be just as good.
That's funny. So other than obviously, tournament fishing, are there any adjustments you've had to make, obviously, being on the Elite Series, off the water? So maybe traveling, lodging, whatever that might be.
So ever since I was like 19, if I was not fishing, I would be out of town playing poker somewhere. So that is how I afforded to fish my entire life. So I have always spent half the year or more in hotels. So for me, it's not foreign at all. And actually, after I left St. Clair, I went over to Harris Cherokee because it's the only casino open, and I went and played poker for a couple of days. So, as far as being on the road and managing, that kind of time, I've always done that. The most difficult part is trying to eat healthy on the road, because there's not many places you can swing in and pick up something healthy.
That's very true. I had a conversation because I had Matt Pangrak on the show. I don't know if you're a BTL listener or not, but I had Pangrak on. He's a host of that BTL. He mentioned that he's a big poker guy as well, but he also mentioned how every time he saw Rick Clunn, that's all they would talk about is poker. So have you talked to Rick Clunn yet about poker? Are you getting in on that little circle they have?
I have not. I didn't know he was a poker player. I had no idea. I heard that Chris Zaldane also plays poker pretty regularly. I think a lot of guys play poker on the Elite pretty regularly. So you never know. I might own about 3 or 4 boats for the end of the year.
Oh boy.
There's an underground
high antes.
Right.
An underground poker league in the Elite Series that no one knows about.
That'd be awesome. That'd make some good YouTube content right there.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah, and that's great you bring that up, because that was going to be one of my next questions for you is, when did that start? And, was it a spark because you wanted to take it to the elite level and that's something you wanted to document? Or is that something you generally interested in filming?
So I've always wanted to do the YouTube deal. Like, I started a channel, 10 or 12 years ago, whenever I was like, I remember watching like John B when he had like 2,000 subscribers, and I started a channel. And then I obviously was not committed to it. I was not dedicated, obviously. So I quit. And then I started another one, which is the one I have now, probably, 4 years ago maybe. And I posted a few BFL like tournaments, stuff like that. And then I left I kind of stopped posting again there. And then I moved to Chickamauga, and I traveled around the country for the entire year of 2018. And I started watching some of these YouTubers and stuff like that. Then I moved up there around Chickamauga and just decided that I wanted to take a shot again and try to do YouTube again. It's always something that I would enjoy, that I thought I would have enjoyed doing. And then after I did it for a little while and started meeting people and talking to people and engaging with the community as much as I did, I started to really, really enjoy doing it. So I really never thought that I was going to just document like my journey to the elites. I wish I knew that. I would have took more time to make better videos, so I would be able to look back on it myself. But I really just kind of started as just something to do, something else to do, and ended up really, really liking it. And that's a lot to do with how positive the community is. Like, it's hard to not enjoy something where you're getting 100 comments of people, cheering you on and saying you're doing good and all this stuff. Like, it's hard not to enjoy that. So that's kind of really one of the main reasons probably that I kept going with it. And now it's to a point where I don't feel like I can stop. And I've even got my wife involved in it, and she's doing a lot of the editing and filming. So it's just now in the fishing community, in the past 12 or 18 months, you've really seen how everybody has started a YouTube channel, and it's became almost a thing that you have to have. So I'm glad that I was able to get in on the forefront a little, but yeah, it's just kind of always something I wanted to do.
Heck yeah. I've enjoyed the little dynamic that you and your lady have had, when you've been fishing up here and watching some of your practice videos and seeing how that's going. It's a pretty cool team build that you got going there.
Right. I'm definitely, very blessed to have, somebody like her in my corner and stuff like that. Somebody that she wants to be better at filming. She's starting to put forth a lot of effort into making the videos, where they have a little bit more viral ability. So yeah, I'm really lucky to have somebody like her that's, in my corner and committed to it just like I am.
Yeah.
And that would take some of the pressure off of you as well. So like if you know that she is going to go out and edit the videos for you and launch them the night of an Elite Series practice, you're like, wow, now it kind of takes like 50% of that stress off so you can worry more about fishing as opposed to the YouTube series. Right. So your teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Exactly. And another thing about being a good fisherman is you always have a good excuse, handy. And whenever she's doing the editing, I always have somebody to blame it on if it goes wrong. So it's never my fault. So that is another huge aspect of it.
Just don't let her listen to this, so so she knows that you're going to blame her.
Right. She can't hear this.
We'll block her from the stream. So,
might be.
So that being said, do you have any big plans? Obviously, I'm sure you're going to keep documenting tournaments, but any other big plans just for the YouTube side?
We're always trying to figure out a way to do something that's going to get a more positive response from people and try to do different things. I personally wanted the YouTube channel to be a lot more about a lifestyle kind of deal instead of a fishing, but it's kind of morphed into a fishing deal because every time I posted a video on lifestyle stuff, it didn't do very well at all. So it kind of made it where that's the only thing I posted. So I really do want to do different stuff. I might want to incorporate, a poker vlog, or, if we go kayaking or, swimming in the ocean or something. That kind of stuff is stuff I've always wanted to do, but it just doesn't seem to take off. So we'll probably move it in a little bit here and there, but if we could get some positive results with it, we would try to do anything with it. But
heck yeah,
it's just hard to get the traction going.
Heard that.
We have to give the viewers what they want. So
right,
that's what it comes down to.
Right.
We do have a comment from Destin here, and it says, "You should talk about the high stakes mini golf fishing scene. This is not a joke."
I'm not a part of that one. I don't know.
High stakes mini golf. Oh man,
that sounds like something I could get into. Mini golf is a blast.
Me too. You want to start laying odds on, the odds to make some putts and some stuff like that. Bounce it off some things and get it to go in. I'm all for that.
Sounds like you guys should set up a date.
Right? Yeah, right. That's funny. But it does not surprise me, all these pro anglers doing some glorified gambling, that there's not some other side bets going on like poker or mini golf or who knows what else goes on. Obviously, we had Josh Bertrand on, and him and Justin Lucas take jabs at each other for fantasy football, different things like that. So I'm not surprised that this is what goes on behind the scenes.
Right. I bet there is a poker game or some kind of gambling that goes on somewhere, but everybody has blown my whole poker so far out of proportion that it cost me some action, I bet.
Oh no, they're afraid to go against you. You're that good.
They shouldn't be, but everybody has. There's been so many articles and stuff about me playing poker professionally and stuff that if there is a poker game, I'm probably gonna be the last one to get invited. But
oh man,
I'm not scared to gamble though. I'll get in there and mix it up, and we'll just gamble, and somebody will win or lose a lot of money.
Heck yeah. I'm waiting for one of your buddies up here to jack one on camera.
Well,
I haven't heard any water splashing or nothing.
They've been setting the hook a lot. Every time I look away, it's usually them setting the hook. But the problem is they're throwing frogs, and there's about 1 pound spotted bass knocking them out of the water. So it usually doesn't equal hookups whenever you're throwing a frog with spotted bass.
That's funny. So Lake Martin, how far is that a travel for you? Is that your home lake, or what is your home lake if not?
I kind of live in a triangle between, I'm a little over an hour from Lake Jordan, Lake Mitchell, Lake. I'm 2 hours from Logan Martin. I'm 30 minutes from Lake West Point. Lake Harding which is in between West Point and Eufaula, is like 10 minutes from where I grew up. Lake Eufaula is an hour to hour and 10 minutes away. So I've got just a ton of lakes really, really close. I really wish I'd have spent more time fishing lakes like Martin and Eufaula growing up, because that's where the tournaments keep going. And we went to Eufaula this year in June, and I had almost never fished there in June, and it's been an hour for me my entire life. So that was something I should have did more, is fish the tournament lakes or the tournament potential lakes a lot more growing up.
Interesting. So I'm sure you've seen it, but the Eastern Open got rescheduled from Oneida up here down to Lay Lake in December. So right. I'm not asking you to give up any juice by any means, but how do you think that's going to be won? And do you think it's going to fish well, or it'd be tough?
It's going to fish pretty good. It really is. It's going to fish pretty good. And it just depends. A lot of times in December, we'll get a lot of rain, have a lot of current. If there's current, it will be one fishing most likely. If there's a absolute ton of current, it'll probably be one on the south end fishing current. But if there's just a moderate amount of current, it's probably going to be one, 15 or so miles north of Beeswax up to the dam in the current fishing, spinner baits, swim baits, chatter baits, crank baits, flipping a jig.
Sounds like so much fun.
And the big spotted bass, they're going to be catching, 18 and a half pounds of spotted bass a day. And them suckers in current are so hard to catch. And that's what I'm anticipating it taking, at least somewhere between 18 and 19 pounds a day to win. So it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be tough for some guys that just want to go, grind it out in the grass. It's going to be pretty tough. But for the guys that are relying on the current, if the current does go, it's going to make that lake look pretty dang good.
All right. Interesting. Andy, you got any questions for Kyle here before we start wrapping up?
I think I touched most of the questions I wanted to. Sorry for kind of throwing it out there and saying you struggled. I know you didn't struggle too bad. You didn't finish last. But compared to how the first two tournaments went to the northern swing, some people might say that's a struggle. So I apologize on that behalf.
It didn't bother me at all. I'm very difficult to offend. But see, it really was a struggle, because there was almost no day where I started and it just started flowing for me. And that's whenever you have a good tournament, you start and you get a couple bites and you just can build on it throughout the day. And I literally never had a day like that except for day 2 of St. Clair. So it really was a struggle. I'm not offended by that at all.
And was this your first time up in like New York, St. Clair, Detroit area? Like your first time ever up into the Northeast kind of Midwest fisheries?
I fished Oneida last year for a Bass Open. But other than that, I have never fished that far north at all. And Oneida's vastly different than any of them other lakes.
Oh, yeah.
Oneida is the wild card in New York. That lake has probably just about everyone's number. So, yeah, it's probably good that you survived there, because it's a killer.
He didn't just survive. He got 11th place.
I know.
Smashed him.
But, like, Hunter Shryock there struggled for years to make the Elite Series, like 2 or 3 years. That tournament killed him every year. So he'd do good all year, then go to Oneida and just bottom out. So it's killed a lot of people.
Oneida fish are they're completely different than everything else in New York that I'm sure Kyle can vouch just as well for, which I hope they stay consistent, because actually this weekend I have, and Kyle, I'm sure you've seen the Bass Nations Kayak Series. I have my state championship up here in New York for the kayak circuit on Oneida this weekend. And I'm hoping that goes well. We'll see how that goes. Pattern's definitely not going to stay the same, but we'll see.
I would drive around the entire lake until I found an algae bloom, and I would go throw a frog in that sucker, because I don't think you're going to hardly catch 5 smallmouth out there drop shotting around. So I'd be fishing for largemouth. I'd be throwing a wacky rig and a frog in that algae bloom. I guarantee you there's one happening this time of year up there.
You're playing mind games with me now. That's what you're doing.
See, he just took 3rd place in a tournament there not so long ago. So he knows Oneida Lake pretty well.
Did you fish for smallmouth?
Yeah.
I mean, if you could get on them, that's the consistent deal.
That's
for sure.
The problem. Yeah,
that's the problem. Can't get on them anymore.
Yeah.
So 5 years ago, that lake was on fire. Then there's a huge fish die-off lake. I think it was 3 years ago.
15, I believe.
Yeah, like 15, 16, there was a really bad fish kill. And all the 3 to 5 pound smallmouth that were in there just bellied up and died for the most part. So there's a lot of 1.5 to 2.5 pound fish, but they're really hard to catch and find now.
Right. I never heard about that fish kill. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It was very low key.
Yeah.
They didn't talk about it. Yeah.
Well, they didn't want people to know about it, is because people kept coming up there and tournaments were being scheduled, but people know about it now, so it ain't no secret. But Kyle, before we're gonna let you go here, I feel like I'm being a horrible person and horrible angler, making you sit in the driver's seat and not fish. But I'm gonna throw one last question at you that I like everybody to answer, just because it's a fun question.
This is a good one.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy it.
If you could go and say you want to have a steak and a beer with 3 different people, who would you invite and why? They don't have to be the fishing industry. They don't have to be alive. They could be from way past in history. Who would you, if you could pick any 3 people, who would you invite to have a steak and a beer with you to pick their brain?
Okay. Number 1 is Jordan Peterson for sure. That dude's he is so smart and he thinks about everything he says before. He's very controversial because people don't listen to him, but he's extremely intelligent. Okay. Number 2,
Number 2 and 3 are the hardest to choose because you start having 100 ideas and names running through your head. You're like, which one would be better?
Oh gosh, dude, I don't know.
You into sports or anything like that? Growing up, do you have a childhood hero?
I never had a guy that I was just so a basketball player or nobody that was just awesome. It's got to be Kobe because his work ethic is insane. So hearing talking to him and hearing about what goes into his everyday life would be, and another guy like that I won't talk to is Elon Musk because he's so busy. He's so busy and he manages his time so well. Him and Kobe both. I think that's 2 people I could learn from the most, is because people who are that hyper successful and that busy, they're just so smart at managing and being productive and being efficient that it's got to be worth it to talk to them for as much as you possibly could.
Heck yeah, mentality is everything. That's what a lot of people can learn from. No doubt. Are you a podcast guy by chance? When you're on the road?
I listen to a little bit of a few of them. I don't really watch anything fishing related or stuff like that. But I do watch Joe Rogan a good bit and stuff like that. And I'll watch a few different people's podcasts, but I don't really hardcore watch any of them.
Yeah. So have you listened to the Elon Musk episode with Joe Rogan, which is what it's actually going to lead up with?
Yeah, I did. Okay. So that was why I didn't pick him first, because he seems pretty difficult to talk to. but a couple beers might open him up. I mean, that joint he smoked didn't hardly, but a couple beers might.
That was what I was going to ask you. I love that episode, but I feel like afterwards I understood absolutely nothing of what he was talking about. But I feel like it had you mesmerized. But
right.
Awesome.
He's a tough person to understand, no doubt.
Awesome. Yeah. And his level of intellectuality, no one can keep up with him. But dude, I just want to say thank you and
thank you for coming on again.
Especially taking time out of fishing. I couldn't do that. I would have given a hard no. But I do appreciate you taking the time out, and it's been a blast, man.
Whenever you fish every day, if you're going to spend time doing anything, it's usually going to be on the boat. So, but I appreciate you guys having me. Had a good time. We'll see y'all later.
Of course, man. Take care.
And good luck the rest of the season. We'll be watching. So
thank you.
And hopefully talk to you soon. Yeah, of course. Yeah, have a good night, man.
All right. Take care. Well, dude, that was a blast.
Fun. Yeah. I was hoping to see a spotted bass get swung around on a frog when he said they were throwing frogs. That'd been awesome.
Right at the end there, I saw him. The buddies up front taking a cast and reeling one in, and for a second it looked like they were reeling in a fish, but it was a frog. But I was waiting for one to just get jacked right behind him.
That'd have been so cool.
That would have made great TV for those watching. But
heck yeah.
But dude, what do you got coming up soon? Do you have your Wednesday nighter this week on Erie?
Wednesdays are done.
They're done.
They're done.
Last week to last week?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, and then Jeff goes and jacks a giant today.
Figures.
Yeah.
Good old El Hef. We got to get Hefe on here. That's what we got to do.
Talk about his guide business that he started up.
Yeah. We'll have to get Hefe and Destin and Mike on, and we'll just do a group trash talk podcast for the Douglas tournament coming up in October.
Ooh.
That could be fun. That could be a great one.
Yeah, but then we have to include Brad too, because Brad is Jeff's partner. So that could be an interesting dynamic.
Right. That's right. I keep forgetting that you're fishing with Destin and not Jeff.
Yes, buddy.
All right, me and Mike are just we're gonna smoke you guys. We're gonna come out of nowhere.
I hope so. I'll be happy for you. I don't want to lose my money to you, but I mean I'll be happy for you.
You would be salty. You would be salty.
You salty dog, you.
Yeah.
But
I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great tournament nonetheless. It's my birthday weekend, so whether it's blowing like crazy or not, I don't care. It's Lake Erie's my favorite place in the world. So
heck yeah.
But
especially after we just got our doors blown off by Justin and Chris on Saturday and on Sunday. So
yeah. Joshua Dellinger says, "Man, wish I was able to fish them Wednesday night or is this year?
It's over this year, buddy. Yeah, it's over this year.
Yeah, unfortunately, next season. Yeah, congratulations to the guys that smoked us. Justin, Chris,
Chris and Justin. Jeez,
smoked everybody. Almost 20 pounds of smallmouth, and then second place was 15.8.
Yeah, they won by 4 pounds. Oh my gosh, incredible. Good job,
These guys hosting their own tournament and then
show up and take all of our money. And
that's what they did. They went and practiced. They're like, we're on the money load. Let's start a tournament. That's what they did.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think Justin has been on the river since me and him fished the river in May together. Wow. I think that was the last time he was on the river.
I was like giving him crap for it.
Like that's the best part about it. I think everyone that showed up on Sunday hadn't fished the river like all year, so we all just went in blind. Yeah. And to have second through sixth place was all 15 pounds to almost 16. It's like if you catch one fish, you jumped 4 places and you're in the money for probably any one of us. So
yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's all it is. I'm sure everybody lost fish. We definitely lost some good fish, and
we lost 2 that I know would have helped. But that's fishing.
Yeah, 100%, dude. But we got some pretty cool episodes coming up, guys. Next Monday. We got Bassmaster Elite Series rookie, another rookie, Mr. Cody Holland coming on.
Oh, yeah.
Live. And in the meantime, we have some episodes coming up with Trait Zaldane and Nathan Ragsdale. Obviously, everybody knows Trait Zaldane, Mrs. Zaldane, but also she's one heck of an angler.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to get her on here, talk about a bunch of different things. Because I've actually been, dude, I don't know if you watched some of the Zaldane series, but when
the Amazon ones,
Trait will go on and go 1v1 with each other, which is kind of cool. But I got him on, and Nathan Ragsdale, former college angler from Georgia. He also works in the industry now, so we're gonna get in some little business stuff. I think the Nathan's podcast will be Friday, it'll air Friday, so we're gonna get some business talk in with him. But it'll be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good week of episodes, and next Monday, make sure. Thank you guys for tuning in for tonight. Make sure you guys tune in again next Monday. You got any last comments there, Andy?
Fish on. I guess is the biggest one. Yeah. No, I mean, it's been fun. I can't wait to see who we line up going into the future. I mean, it looks like we have some people that want to hop on, so it's going to be fun. People should start buying some more serious merch to spread the word. There is a website. We can post a link of it later. There's some sweet hoodies on there and hats and stuff, so buy them up. I think there's some beanies on there too for the cold water season. So
actually got mine.
Did you get your new hoodie in? Oh, you got the beanie.
My hoodie's not in yet. It is coming on the way, but we're gonna be adding some more merch. It's great, Andy. Thank you for bringing that up. We're gonna be bringing some more merch to the website for people to go and buy. So you can go down below in the description, get yourself some apparel if you'd like. We got some ideas coming up. Some things we're gonna add.
Some exciting news in the coming months. So
very exciting stuff, and it's gonna be pretty cool. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys will tag along and stay tuned. And I think that does it for tonight. Andy, you got anything else that you want to get off your chest?
Oh, I'm good for now. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's do it. It was a fun episode tonight. Thank you again to Kyle for taking out the time.
Yep. Thank you,
Kyle. It's not gonna be the last time we're gonna have him on. And thank you guys again for watching and listening. We'll see you guys next time.